Wow, that's really good. So when that happens, right, a big down day on your calls, but you have your puts, are you trying to sell your calls at the open? Are you trying to have faith and let it ride? Are you trying to sell your puts at the open? Like, what do you want to do? What are your steps in a big red day?
Typically, I mean, it really just depends on the expiration date and how much time I have and things like that. But usually, I would adjust my stop losses. So I would probably move up closer to getting some profits with my puts, and then I would probably, also add some stop losses on my calls, but give it a little more room to kind of turn it around. But I would really just go in and kind of adjust my stop losses based on what I'm willing to risk, pretty much off what I have currently in that position.
Okay, okay, that makes sense. That definitely makes sense. This leads me to my next question. How do you find stocks to trade?
So typically, what I do is I use Thinkorswim. It's definitely my favorite platform because it's a little more advanced to use starting out, but once you get the I guess the drift of it, it's not too bad to manage. So what I like to do is I create scanners for specific criteria that I personally like. And what I do is I save that scanner as pretty much a query. Well, that's what they call it in Thinkorswim. So you save that scanner in a query, and what you do is you go to your watch list and you set your watch list to that query. Excuse me. You set
Mm.
that watch list to that query, and when you do that, is it's basically when you have that watch list pulled up, Thinkorswim will automatically scan whatever you want it to scan. Like you can have it scan a specific watch list that you have created and scan your own watch list for that particular criteria. Because I have mine connected to my big watch list of all the stock that I personally watch. So what I do
Mm.
is I'll create a criteria. So let's just say a stock is near the last weekly highs and it's close, within 1% or close to breaking out. I have a scanner for that, and in my watch list, I would select that scan query, and it'll automatically create a watch list for me of stocks that meet that particular criteria. So, like for example, I have another scanner that's basically saying, "Hey, check for a stock that has this volume, and is above the 21 and 50 EMA on, let's say, the 5 minute and the 15 minute, and maybe the hour." And what that does is throughout the day, it'll scan my personal watch list for the stocks that I already filtered out, and it'll tell me which stocks meet that criteria. And anytime a stock pop up in my scanner, or I'm basically on my watch list, because it's automatically generated once you select that scan query. So once it creates my watch list, then I'll go in and take a look at those particular stocks and take a look at the price actions and things like that. So then once I do that, I'll kind of filter it down. It's usually filtered down pretty good amount, maybe like 5 to 10 stocks come up from my watch list. My watch list is maybe like 60 or 70 stocks. And once they pop up there, I'll basically dive into the charts and take a look from there. But that's kind of how I filter out most of my trades, and it prevents me from pretty much scrolling through all of the stocks and looking through it manually. It's basically checking my whole watch list for me and filtering out the trades that I would personally like to look at without having to actually go through each individual stock itself.
Thank you, man. Thank you. That really was good to hear that real time data analysis. When I was doing my trading, I had a few watch lists that kind of were on a delay, but having that automatic real time flow will really help you on those intraday moves. Do you see technical analysis on the dailies and weeklies helping through any of your trades, or do you more so like to see that real time data?
So I like to pay attention to the daily for like support resistances and determining the overall trend. But I kind of peek at the daily, and then that helps me determine if I want to get in the stock or not. And once I take a look at that, I'll kind of move it down to a smaller time frame. So maybe the 5 minute, the 15 minute, or the hourly. I don't look at the 4 hour as much. I do sometimes, but I usually kind of switch between the 5, the 15, and the hourly for a entry time frame.
Okay, that makes sense. I think the hourly works for stocks, but the 4 hour doesn't because you only have like 6.5 hours, I think,
Right,
of the
right.
stock market to be open. So it's not, it doesn't work. However, with cryptos or anything 24/7, the 4 hour does indeed work as a good time frame to look at. I did want to kind of switch it up, just for you trading for a while. I've been trading myself for a minute. What characteristics should a person need or get better at or improve upon or focus on if they want to be a trader?
Um, I would say just getting used to losing, because that's kind of the part of the game. Cause I mean, I'm pretty sure most people are typically competitive. So when you lose on one trade, you may not, you may get all mad and upset and stuff like that. But you got to consider that pretty much your losing trades are your cost of doing business. So just like you have a cost of doing business if you have a food truck or a Chick-fil-A or any type of business, your losses are your cost of business. And just remember not to focus on your individual trades, but making sure you're picking the best setups and over time making sure that your trading plan overall will consistently make you profits or at least break even. And it's not about and just getting into the habit of not being so emotional, of course, about these trades, because each individual trade shouldn't hold so much weight to where it could break your account. You should be taking most likely hundreds of trades over the year if you can, and those hundreds of trades will hopefully equal out to your end trading result for the year. So, just not being so hesitant or stressed about one particular trade, as long as you have your proper risk management in place, and just showing that it's the amount and the consistency, and actually being able to tell yourself you can get in and get out properly without being so emotional about it.
Thank you for that, man. I know this might be a tough question, and we're winding down. What was your biggest loss?
My biggest loss, I would say, probably about, can't remember it exactly per se, and it's not for the year, but one trade, I would say probably about 50,000.
And what led to that?